Hey everybody, patch 11.20 for TFT. Wanted to get a quick video out for this even though I'm not streaming today. I've had the flu for the past week and it's been driving me crazy, but I'm well enough that I can at least do this video even though I'm not going to stream. So I'm going to scroll down to some of the new features. First of all, Tactician Scouting. Now when you are scouting someone, your little legend will briefly appear on their board after a delay, so people know you're being scouted. Um, I'm not. It'll be interesting to see how that impacts the game. I don't think it's too big a deal, but it will tell you like some of the weaker players from the stronger players based on like who's just watching your board. System changes. There's now a new second Radiant Armory at 5-1. Um, since Worlds is over, Riot's free to like do whatever the hell they want to the game. They don't have to worry too much about the esports scene, so we're gonna just kind of start seeing a lot of the weirder shit. But they also wanted to get some of that stuff out early before um, the PBE comes out for the next set, so that way people who would normally waste all their time in the PBE will have some time to play on some of the more fun shit that they're adding in. So the big one is there is a second Radiant Armory at 5-1. It's big. You should also now probably be planning for this Radiant Armory. This timing actually worked out pretty well because after 4-5, you're just sitting on your items and you get all your items and you slam them all. Now you wait just a moment after you get those new items to see what you get in this Radiant Armory before making all of your big slams. Uh, Radiant Blessing. So the big thing on the Radiant Blessing is that they're increasing the amount of high-end quality Radiant Blessings that can drop, including some of the new crazier ones that include like 3 Forces of Nature, double Nikos and 20 gold, and extra 8 item components. Um, like I said, these are very rare, as you can see by these chances, but the point is the high quality ones basically doubled. So we're going to be seeing some of the crazier Radiant Blessings in this patch. Okay, large changes. There's quite a few large changes that are coming out of this patch. Um, for some reason, Monstrosity they seem to think is going to be one of them. I don't know what to say about Monstrosity anymore. So they buffed 4 and um, 5 Monstrosity. I, no one plays 4 Monstrosity, and you only play 5 if you high roll it. So I don't think this does anything. That said, these are actually pretty sizable buffs, especially this attack damage per level. So I'm not too high on this anyways. Abomination, like 3 Abomination works out well because you can keep trait bots in and still get the Abomination. But when you try to go to 4, you lose a lot of that because you're not going to play Callista. Like no one wants to play Callista. There's no reason to play Callista. And in order to get 5, you have to have a spat and play Callista, which no one wants to play Callista. Um, Draconic is probably the biggest change here. So Draconic value in general is increasing, and the chances of getting a high roll egg are increasing. So as you can see here, the 4-turn egg, the odds of finding one is doubled. The average value of an egg increased by 0.2 gold. The 5-turn egg doubled. Average value increased by about half a gold. Also added to the new 5-turn egg drops, you can now get a fawn. I knew it could drop spats, but I've never heard it dropping fawns. 3 item components and a triple Heimerdinger. Why? Why? Um, my opinion on Draconic is it's kind of been one of the weaker of the how do I want to call this? The RNG, the hyper high roll, the crazy trait of the set was like previous set we had Fortune, this set we had Draconic. I don't think Draconic worked out to be as epic as Fortune did. Fortune worked out to be very epic, while Draconic kind of didn't. I think that laid more on the traits that the Draconic champions had and kind of how weak most of the Draconic champions are, especially the 1-star and 2-star ones. But I this would probably be the thing I would watch out for the most is how high can you high roll a Draconic board this set. Forgotten. So Forgotten 6 and Forgotten 8 are getting nerfed. I've seen it, like, it's hard to get Forgotten 6 up, but if you do get it up, it's a very, very strong trait. Its main weakness is that without a spat, you're just like this awkward synergy hell. But if you can manage to get up to 6, use a spat, or even 8 and use a spat, like, these numbers are actually obscene. So the nerf here is probably good, even though you probably have not seen 6 Forgotten or 6 or 8 Forgotten. This nerf was probably warranted, to be honest. Ranger attack speed, again, no one plays 6 Ranger. Occasionally you'll see 4 Ranger basically anytime anyone finds a Ranger spat. It's just tricky to work in. There's not much else I can say. But this is a pretty good buff to it. If you get that Ranger spat, I would think you almost always try to play 4 Ranger. Sentinel, Sentinel's getting a nerf at 3 and 6. This has been a long time coming. So you can get a nerf with the shield at 6 as well. Yeah, this has been a long time coming. Early Sentinel's been way too good. 6 Sentinel, since they did the rework to it, has been way too good. So this is probably welcome. And Skirmisher is getting a attack speed. Really? They're getting an attack damage per second buff. Okay. So they're buffing it across the board. Welcome change. Skirm 6 is pretty bad. I don't know if this is enough to make it better. The fact you're playing 6 Skirm champions makes it tricky to tell because this stacks up quite quickly. But 3 Skirm has needed a little bit of a buff for a while. I don't know if this is enough, but it's a welcome buff. Tier 1 champion changes. So Kled, if you watched any of the World's Championship, Kled was kind of a tear throughout the entire tournament. Kled reroll was very strong. They had actually buffed Kled to give him, I think it was 5 AD when he was dismounted, that's not even a buff. That doesn't mean anything. I wouldn't take that into account as to why Kled was busted. Kled was incredibly strong before that, and people had evaluated going into that championship set that Kled was very good, and more people need to play Kled reroll. And there were people who just forced it every game. But the main thing was dismounted Kled's damage scaling was basically just destroying things, and it was probably a bit much. So they toned it down. It looks delicious. Yeah, delicious milk plated every game. So they toned him back down a bit. This one I'm a little more sketchy on. So they're nerfing Vayne at 2-star and 3-star and taking out that AD. I didn't think Vayne had been performing that well. So this one kind of surprised me. I mean, I could get behind probably one of these two, but definitely not both. So this nerf surprises me. Brand's getting a buff. Admins are away. Ryan Mort's going to buff Brand. Yay. This is what Ryan Mort does. Anytime everyone's away, he's going to buff Brand. To be more specific about this change probably will not do anything. It's just funny to say because Ryan Mort's been riding Brand this entire set, and now that no one can tell him otherwise, he's going to buff Brand. Tier 4 champions. Max mana nerf to Aphelios. Yeah. His spell, particularly with Deathblade attached, will basically just kill off 3 champions. So I'm not surprised to see this getting nerfed. They're also buffing Jax. Wow. Okay. This isn't even a tiny buff. This is actually a pretty sizable buff to Jax damage scaling on this spell. Wow. Combine that with the buffs to scrims. I mean, Jax was already a pretty strong champion. I know they nerfed him just a titch, to make him not like scale as fast. But oof, Jax looks really good. Small changes. Hellion. So it looks like they're toning down scaling of Hellion 6 and 8. Yeah, I've seen Hellion 6 and 8 do a lot of work, so that's not surprising. Spellweaver 6 tiny nerf. I'm surprised I didn't give a tiny nerf to Spellweaver 2. Spellweaver 4. Spellweaver 4 is a pretty strong. It's pretty strong. It's very sought after spat. So a little surprised not to see a little nerf here, but I can understand that one. Tier 1 champion. We're still talking about overperforming Tier 1 champions. Callista. 3-star nerf? Is that it here? Yeah, this is a very minor 3-star nerf. This change is probably coming in way too late after the Aatrox Callista reroll composition. Kha'Zix getting a nerf at 3-star again. Yeah, the isolation damage here is obscene. Like it's just so high. I'm not surprised to see these numbers get nerfed again. And Vladimir health going up. Not much to say there. Soraka, interesting. They're taking they're adding damage onto 1-star Soraka, but taking out of 3-star Soraka. Triss, since the rework, she's been pretty weak, so I'm not surprised to see a small AD buff here. Yeah, I want to go back to Soraka. Soraka's been a very interesting champion throughout this entire set. In general, I find like you could make her work at 2-star with spell crit. The spell did quite a bit of AoE damage. Like that was something that worked. I find that Soraka is a little more useful later in the game, but there weren't a lot of ways to like play her later in the game. Mostly because she was shrouding shit. Like that's incredibly strong in this game. Interesting. Nocturne. Nocturne no longer scales with anything. Yeah, they just got rid of all of his damage. Nocturne 1 has been so bad forever. I'm not surprised to see this, really. Nocturne has weird levers because of how he does damage, how he has self-sustain. This is weird how he works. Nunu, nerf Nunu 3. Chinese Nunu can die in hell. Just screw Chinese who. Draven. He's getting an AD buff. I thought Draven was kind of okay as is. I think he's still not as good as a lot of the other carries you can run at 4 call, especially compared to Lucian. It feels like everyone compared to Lucian's like way weak. A good Lucian will just rip, is like one of the best performing champions in the game, I think. But Draven is not bad. He's just not great. He probably could use his buff. I don't know where this places him after that. Fiddlesticks. So Fiddlesticks, in hindsight, is kind of supposed to be a carry this set, and he's not. He's a trait bot. Straight up trait bot. Unless you get an assassin spat on him, then he's a good assassin. But otherwise, he's kind of a trait bot. So I'm not surprised to see this buff, but this does mean that he gets to cast pretty quickly. Considering how his spell functions, that's quite a bit of power he's going to be getting with this change. So I would keep an eye on Fiddlesticks to see if how much this change impacts him based off how his spell functions and the fact that it recasts on kills. So like you can have this spell up very early and just have it just continuously resetting. Tier 5, Akshan. Yeah, Akshan's really strong at 1-2-star. Like, even unitemized, he's pretty strong. He's very difficult to deal with. So, not surprised to see these nerfs. Kale AD going up. Yeah, they took some points out of Kale a while back. Kale's still okay, but, like, they needed to tone her because of how Deathblade was so effective on her. So, I'm not surprised to see this change, but yeah. Viego 3-star, very powerful. He's very powerful. I'm pretty sure he's very powerful 2-star too, but now he's super very powerful 3-star. Quickest silver speed bonus. Quickest silver, I believe, is the weakest performing um, radiant item. It's a good radiant item. It's just that oftentimes they're better on your carrots on your armory. So it's getting a tiny buff. Ah, missed a cancel on that. My bad. So going back. Oh wow, there's no chart for this one. Why would they give me no chart? That's rude. Um, So in general, the big things I think here to keep an eye out for the Sentinel nerf should keep Lucian down a little bit. Draconic's entire rework probably will make it more acceptable to play Draconic, especially if you can high roll up the Draconic 5 really early. Um, the buffs to Skirmisher and Jax, I think, make Jax very, very enticing. It's something that you probably should think to play a lot more and think about how you need to play around Jax, because Jax will probably be one of the dominant compositions this patch. Um, Otherwise, that's about it. They're adding. Oh, and we have the new Armory. Yeah, make sure you play to this Armory. This is probably a big change to how you need to play. Don't like devote all of your items before like at 4-5 when you're gonna want to wait a turn to see what you get out of this armory. Um, Otherwise, this is the last patch before the last patch, and the PBE goes up. So I suspect that this is probably the last time a lot of people are going to be playing this set of TFT. So go have fun. Play Draconic. Have a ball. There's no real reason to worry that much about your LP anymore. So just go out there, be happy, enjoy things, and I'll see y'all around. Peace.